We are at Roarin on the river at the USS KIDD Museum this evening, hence the victory rolls, and I'll get Chris to film a little bit to show the full outfit in a moment. But this is a fundraising benefit for the KIDD to raise funds for them to continue restoring the ship and keeping the museum open. And actually the ship is about to leave to go to dry dock in order to get some serious repainting and refurbishment of the hull. There is no set date for when it is going to be leaving though. They've already closed it for tours for the day, so we can't go out and show you the actual ship today. It was also storming, so they probably don't want people walking around on the wet deck because that is a safety hazard for anybody who's less dexterous than me, and I'm not the most dexterous person around to begin with. But I figured I'd show you some pieces of the museum, some segments of the event, and just overall take you along with us. Let me show you real quick. The dapper Scottish gentleman with all of his Disney pins.
But that right there is all that stands between you and obliteration.
So this is all about, this section here on the second floor is all about pirates, because the ship is named for Captain William Kidd. Well, actually, it's named for a different Kidd.
Admiral Isaac Kidd, who was a
right,
the United States Navy,
but
killed.
The crew likened it to this Kidd.
Admiral Isaac Kidd is the first officer, like the first high-ranking officer killed in World War II.
I see. Okay.
His ship was destroyed.
Got it. But the crew likened it to Captain Kidd, and they wanted to fly the Jolly Roger, the Skull and Crossbones, on the ship. The Navy told them no, so they contacted Kidd's widow.
The Navy thought more than just a no. They thought it was an insult to to Admiral Kidd.
But they contacted Isaac Kidd's widow to ask permission, and she said, yeah, go ahead, fly it. So to this day, it is the only commissioned naval ship in the United States allowed to fly that flag, correct?
That is true and not true. So, the USS KIDD designation has continued to live on. The USS KIDD designation has continued to live on. That is the KIDD name, not the DD-661. That's the actual designation of the ship. But the USS KIDD has been renamed several times, and each KIDD has been allowed to maintain the Jolly Roger.
So
it was the USS KIDD.
The name and designation is allowed, not the specific ship.
But that was started with our KIDD right there on the Mississippi, and it's continued that tradition because of our KIDD. There was no USS KIDD before that.
Yeah.
And when they started that tradition, it continued to be a tradition. It is now a tradition in the Navy. So the modern day USS KIDD is still to this day allowed to fly along with her colors a Jolly Roger.
Very cool. So they've got this, little hull area that replicates what a sailing ship, an old style sailing ship from the age of sail, would have looked like. There's the dedication of the replica gun deck. And this wall here talks about Louisiana's probably most famous connection to pirates, Jean Lafitte himself.
No, the only.
Because Jean Lafitte and his ship and crew were pivotal in the Battle of New Orleans in 1815 in saving the city, even though that battle in the first place took place after the War of 1812 was technically already over, but they hadn't received word yet.
Been signed, but
they hadn't. Exactly. Jean Lafitte, very cool, and that is why you will find references to Jean Lafitte all over Louisiana in city names, in business names. Well, Lafayette is also a reference to Marquis de Lafayette from the Revolution, because Marquis de Lafayette was also, I think, pivotal in the sale of the Louisiana land.
In Lafayette, there's a lot of references to
Lafayette. And there is a Louisiana-based soda company called Swamp Pop that makes a Jean Lafitte. It's the ginger ale.
The ginger ale.
It's the ginger ale, which is made with cucumber.
It's actually glorious.
It's wonderful.
Relatively short and to the point presentation. We thank all of you on behalf of USS KIDD for being here tonight. These events are to help us not only raise money, but to draw attention to the fact that there's some very important people doing really good things kid and for our community, and we want to take a moment tonight to recognize a couple of those. Went to the Pentagon and had the Secretary of the Navy, who was John Lehman at the time, sign the papers for the kids.
I got some stuff here for you, but one of the things I wanted to point out to you, this thing, I'm going to give you this in just a minute, but this is a bottle of still water straight bourbon whiskey. Now this is for you to use after a hard day in revenue and fiscal affairs. I spent today in the legislature, and it's not a whole lot of fun sometimes. So this, right? This will help you overcome those challenges. And here's a little memento. To recognize our friend Franklin Coyle as a kid for this year.
Skip, thank you for that warm welcome. Thank you, John Spain, for the nice comments. And Skip, it's an honor to follow you in your footsteps for all of your accomplishments. I'm very honored to be here today.
Why?
Through that door back there? Through that door. I'm coming back. So I saw that one, but I did not see that one.
Yes, that's the sunken.
They were, but they had very specific rules. Screwed.
I think it's the other thing.
We are back in the car, about to head home, and I will finish off the vlog from there. But it was a lovely night. We were the last ones on the shuttle back to the parking lot. So we're gonna get out of the hair of the cops who are having to watch the lot, and I will check in at home. We are home. Clearly I haven't taken off the makeup yet, but I've unpinned my victory rolls. I will definitely give them another go in future. Hopefully I will have set some curls into my hair beforehand. I think part of what made it difficult was that I hadn't set any curls in, but also my hair tends to just be finer and frizzier. So I was struggling to deal with that. My hair is soft, so it wasn't wanting to hold shape. So hopefully if I set some shape into it beforehand, that might help. But we had a wonderful time, good conversation with the various people we spoke with. The music was fantastic. The food was excellent. Chef John Folse's company had provided the food, so it was delicious as always. The only thing we missed out on was some of that bread pudding, but there's always next time. But yeah, we're home for the evening. I will say, for anyone who wants to attend, it was $75 a ticket this year, and I believe that's how it was 2 years ago when we went. I presume last year was the same. I presume they keep it at a pretty set price. So if you're wanting to attend the future events, keep that in mind. But it is raising money for the museum and for the upkeep and restoration of the KIDD, as well as the installation of the various other exhibits. Like they're working on adding to the exhibit about Admiral Isaac Kidd, for whom the ship is actually named, as well as they have an area next to the pirate section that was being worked on while we were there tonight. Of course, the KIDD traveling to the dry dock in Homa for the very serious restoration work that will be happening later this year. Roxy just sat on Chris's guild. The heavy restoration that'll be done in the dry dock in Homa later this year. They said they had raised about $9 million in order to do that. Events like this, as well as just people buying tickets to go to the museum, are the main ways that they are able to raise the money to restore and keep up all of that. And the event for the most part is also to present that Patriot Award that you guys saw. But it's a fabulous event. The Victory Bells were there the last time. It was the Baton Rouge Caledonian that performed this time. I'm sure they get all sorts of there was a secondary band that was playing the 1940s jazz while we were eating. Yeah, I'm sure they get different groups and different speakers each year. This was apparently the 5th one that they've held, so it is a fairly new event. But yeah, if you have an appreciation for history and museums and you'd like to see a living piece of history, or if you want just a really cool 2 to 3 hour event with a 1940s vibe in the Baton Rouge area, I definitely recommend it. We're definitely going to try to make a point to set time on our calendars to go to it each year, and hopefully my 40s wardrobe will be better and better each time. that's what I'm truly missing, is like a good formal 40s dress. The one tonight kind of fast, but it was sort of 40s into 50s. All that to say, we had a lovely evening. We're excited for the next thing we do this year, as well as for next year's Roarin' on the River. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know where all the buttons and the links are to show me that love at this point. If you'd like more videos like this specifically, I have my events playlist linked in the cards and in the doobly-doo below, as well as my vlogs playlist, where you can find various other day-to-day things. If you'd like to join the adventure on other social media planes, you can find my Linktree portal below with entries into all of those other social media planes. And as always, I'd like to give a huge thankful shout out to my coven of patrons, especially Crystal member Unimportant and Candle member Mitchell, for continuing to be my biggest supporters. And if you, dear viewer, would like to join their ranks, again, check that Linktree portal below, where you can find my Patreon, where pledges start at $1 a month. Thanks again. Stay tuned for the vlogs of rebuilding Alice Pessel's shift and bodice, as well as more gaming VODs from the Bolt Gun series, and I will see you all again very soon. Keeping well, lads. Mwah.